So the best part of my day today was that I attended several sessions here that were extremely dynamic, where we had people, scholars from all areas, all disciplines, all nations, talking about things within the church that I wouldn't have expected. There was a dynamism here that was amazing, and I think everybody sort of felt very uplifted by it. The comments I heard were extremely positive. I mean, Paul, what would you say was the best part of your day?
Yeah, so what we were hoping to build is what we've described as conciliarity from below. And I think it's happening because we have people from Bulgaria, we have people from Georgia, we have people from Africa, we have Orthodox scholars from all over the world, and it's surprising how many topics come up that otherwise wouldn't have actually come up. There is a remarkable new dynamic and new exchange, I think, new spirit of conciliarity on the move in the room, and that's something to be cherished. What do you think, Carrie?
Well, speaking of topics that don't often come up, we had a session on missiology today, and we discussed the African church. And I think that was really meaningful to the people in that session and to many people here at the conference. And then after that, we had a really somber but beautiful moment where we had a memorial latia for His Grace Bishop Athanasios Akunda, who reposed last week, who was the Bishop of Western Kenya. And he was very significant to many people there and many people here at this conference and many people in the world. And that was a moment where we as scholars experienced our life together as professionals, but also as people of prayer. And I think that was really meaningful for all of us.
Well, and what was cool from my perspective was that at that missiology conference, I was actually in that session, and it was actually provocative. I mean, you actually don't expect missiology to be provocative, but you have different scholars from Kenya, from Alaska, from Soviet, from former Soviet Union, Russia, giving a perspective on things that was, different, but yet there was a commonness to it.
You both mentioned mission. And of course, our hope, our aspiration is that in 4 years, we'll have a major conference under this general topic of mission.
We have, we're making it seem like there's so much with missions, but in fact, concurrently, we have like 6 sessions running at the same time, and I can't figure out where to go. And other people are like, I want to be here and here, and some people are even jumping from one session to the other because there's so many talks that they want to hear.
Right. Well, the two problems I keep hearing are people can't decide where to go because they have so many excellent choices, and then also we've had sessions that don't want to end, where we've had people where we basically had to kick them out of their rooms because people want to keep staying and talking about their topics, which are great problems to have.
But then we have a social event where everybody gathers and still keeps talking about it. So we have the meeting after the meeting, which is also really, really neat.
Yeah, no, that's magnificent. I attended a couple of sessions on more classical topics like Philokalia, for example, which are actually very important for the Iasi region, as it is also for the Orthodox world at large. And what fascinated me was the discussion of hesychasm, for example, also the discussion of how Philokalia was received by common people, how it was received by different sort of parts of the church. I also attended a session on a kind of a comparative analysis of the experience of communism and totalitarianism. And so primarily Slavic, but there were also offerings from people, for example, looking at the area of Yugoslavia. What fascinated me about that session is that we have never really had a theology after Gulag. We've never actually had that reflection, unlike, for example, the theologies of Holocaust, etc. We Orthodox do not yet have a mature reflection on these topics. And so IOTA is an opportunity for group projects of this nature to actually be discussed.
Right. Well, I attended a session on marriage today, and the thing that I thought was so interesting about that was we had, on the one hand, very theoretical, scholarly reflections on theologies of marriage in the Orthodox Church, but on the other hand, we had very pragmatic reflections, too, on very pastoral concerns, very rubber meets the road kind of concerns, and how those two things meet. And there were great conversations in the discussion about those relationships, and I think that's something we can really possibly contribute, I think, to into our community is that relationship
Yeah, and-
between the scholarly community and the pastoral concern.
Yeah, and the science of religion session that I attended, it was much the same. I mean, there's this sort of, academic perspective, and then there's this pastoral, how do we handle this in our parishes? How do we handle it in the real world? And that is something that we can really uniquely do here that I'm not sure is done anywhere else.
And IOTA is precisely trying to connect. In fact, our hope is to connect the church, the academy, and the world. And so once we're able to accomplish that, and in many ways the Te Deum at the Metropolitan Cathedral was a kind of a visual image, for me at least, of the bishop, the scholars, and also the faithful praying together. And so we very much hope that that spirit will continue.